Hi, and welcome to the Virgin River Cafe Rewatch podcast. Good morning, Gigi. Happy Saturday.
Good morning, Tracy. How's it going?
It's good. It's been a very, very, very long week, but that's okay. We have those sometimes, even in the summer when you think it's all leisurely and cool and chillin'. It's not. It's not. It's busy. It's like you
Yeah,
think you have time to get everything done and you don't, but you try.
yeah. Well, hopefully it will calm itself out eventually.
I hope so. I hope so. We've got a few more weeks left before kiddos go back to school and maybe things will be a little more calmer. I don't know. Maybe they'll be busier. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. What are you drinking today?
Today, it's simple. I'm having an iced coffee.
Really?
Uh, I know. Could you imagine that?
Be
So I
still, my heart.
so I got myself a new stovetop espresso maker.
Okay.
So I made some cold brew basically.
Nice.
So basically it's like a cold espresso brew as such. So anyway, so that I'm having that. So that's my drink of choice today.
Oh, yum. Love that for you. Thank you for joining me in the cold drinks on this lovely Saturday morning. I am having an just a caramelized coffee, and I made a little bit of vanilla cold foam on top. Nothing special. Just
Yeah.
I felt a little felt caramel today. So and I like making the cold foam. It's yummy and it's easy to make. I have the little frother and you just zip it up and there you go. So I just felt a little caramely today. So are you ready? We are now. Ooh, we're diving in. This is like the we're gonna put a close a chapter on one section of this season, so that we can
Yep.
move on to some other things.
Yep.
So, yeah, this is a good episode. This is a good one. I mean, okay, I'm going to say it now. They're all good. They're all good. Some are better than others.
That's
Um,
true.
there's some really good ones coming, but it's nice to close chapters on certain storylines and certain things and put things away and tie things in a bow, and it's nice when we can do that,
Yeah.
and then they
And
don't linger.
well, it's always good to close up certain storylines because they kind of leave a bad taste in your mouth. So
Yeah,
it's nice
yeah,
to move on to pleasantries, as they say.
yes. All right. Well, let's get started.
So we're on season 6, episode 3. The jury is out.
Mm. Okay, so
Mm-mm-mm.
it says a familiar face returns to town with surprising news. Preacher awaits his fate. Mel meets with Doc to discuss her new plan, and Brady puts Lark on the spot. That's a lot. That's a lot of different storylines all happening. So we're starting
Yep.
off with Mel driving. It's so cute. Her little red car driving the long path to her new property. They have a
Mm.
property. They have a place. They have it's beautiful. They have this giant house and barn, and Jack is already there, and Mel is walking into the barn, and she's meeting up with Jack. And Jack is there with the horse. And he's petting the horse and he's like, "Easy there." And she goes up behind him and she's like, hugs him from behind, puts her head chin on his shoulder, and she's like, "Is that me or the horse?" And he's like, "Oh, definitely not you." Gives her a nice big kiss because they're getting much closer to the wedding. And then Hope walks in and she's like, "Save it for the altar." And they look at her. And it's Hope and Lizzie. Now, remember, she's officiating their ceremony, and the two of them are kind of like wedding coordinators. And Hope's like, "Glad to see you two have the first kiss worked out." They're so funny. She goes, "And glad to see Sugar seems to be doing better." Because that's where they're housing Sugar. Now, they're supposed to have the reception in this barn.
uh,
So, remember? So, they're going to have to get Sugar out of there before the wedding. So they've got a couple of weeks to figure that out. And that's an interesting storyline that's coming. They'll figure it out. So Hope, of course, is always checking in on Sugar. And she's like, no time for pleasantries. She's like, we have a lot of wedding details to lock down. And she goes, and that's why we're here. And Lizzie's like, you guys should know Hope is taking her efficient duties very seriously, which is hilarious. So she's like, she had me make a 3-ring binder. Okay, so now it's really getting real. The woman's got plans.
Of course, she has
And
plans.
she's like, what? It's my job to make sure this wedding goes off without a hitch. And Lizzie's like, well, one hitch. And then she's trying to make a joke, and she goes, because they're getting hitched, and everybody's like, oh my God. And then Lizzie's like, never mind, I'll just take notes. So now Hope's going to go into all the things that need to be done. And Jack's like, well, the roof is done, and the barn is almost wedding ready. Mel's like, except it's sort of doubling as a horse hotel. She's like, are you close to finding Sugar a forever home? And Hope's like, I'm on it. Sugar's going to have a new home in time for your wedding day. I mean, she's like very matter of fact about that. She goes, but I don't think the barn is going to be big enough to host the whole town. So I'm thinking massive reception tent. And Mel and Jack look very stressed. And she's like,
I would too.
and
God.
Lizzie pulls up the binder. She opens it up to a tabbed page. And she's like, see, the binder has visuals. And she goes, well, I just want all of us to be on the same page. Hope's trying to explain. And Jack's looking at the binder going, that's like 70 pages. And Mel is looking very perplexed. And she goes, and when you say the whole town? And Lizzie's like, oh, she means it. Like, Hope didn't want anyone to feel left out. It's the event of the year, Mel. Hope's like, after the fire, the town needs this. Like, okay, really? I mean, it's not the Kennedys getting married. Seriously. It's not like a royal wedding, but it's their royal wedding. So she goes, it's basically our royal wedding. See? I told you. That's what they think of it as. And Mel is like, well, that's really sweet. I mean, we did say we wanted the town there. And they're kind of laughing. And Jack's like, yeah, but, it's a lot to accommodate. And Hope is like, the sewing circle has agreed to help expand the scope of the event. Oh no. What is Hope going to get them into?
It's anybody's guess at this point.
Oh my God. She goes, we have a lot of ideas, and you two need to focus on the ceremony. And, oh my gosh. So Lizzie shows a picture of like a military type thing where men are standing as a bride and groom walk down the aisle with their swords above them. Oh my gosh. She goes, yeah, but I'm not 100% sure I want to do like a formal Marine wedding. That's what Jack's trying to explain, because they're showing him pictures like, hey, here's one of your options. And Mel's like, oh, it does look good. And Hope's like, well, I don't care one way or the other. You just need to make a decision. She goes, Mel, did you want your dad part of the wedding? And she goes, well, I haven't decided on that yet, because she's very wishy-washy about him and his participation. She's still trying to get information out of him about her mom. And she'd already asked Doc to walk her down the aisle. So now, in effect, she's kind of got two dads. So it makes things very interesting.
Awkward is more like it.
Yeah. And Hope's like, well, programs go to the printer in 2 days. So we got a lot to do, folks. Mel's like, I promise we'll have everything before the programs have to go to the printers. We'll make our decisions. Jack's like, there's been a lot going on. Speaking of, he's like, I got to stop by the bar on my way to the courthouse. So he gives Mel a kiss, says goodbye, and he's like, Hope's like, we'll finish up here. No problem. And Hope's like, I'll see you later at the courthouse. Don't worry, Jack. She's like, the jury will find him not guilty. I know it in my bones. And Jack's like, thanks. Mel just kind of looks at him with a very sincere, heartfelt smile, like, I'm with you. I'll meet you there. We'll be there. It'll be okay. All in just a look. So then Hope turns back to wedding prep. So Lizzie turns to Mel and she's like, so how do you feel about multiple chocolate fountains? And she turns the binder around and shows her a picture.
I don't know if it's Hope and Lizzie's wedding or is it
right?
Mel's wedding.
You wonder. So we're back at the courthouse, and Bree is talking to the prosecutor, and he's like, "What do you mean he's not taking the deal? He lied to his best friend about where he was at the time of the murder. That's consciousness of guilt that proves that he did it." Really, dude? I don't think you're a very good lawyer if that's the reason. Like, that's all you've got. And Bree's looking at him like, "You're lost your mind, dude."
He's an idiot.
Right? She's like, "All it proves is that you played dirty." He's like, "Look, Bree, this is going to come down to character. And so far, your client's character is in question." Really? Is it? Is it now? And she's looking at him like, "Well, it won't be after I put him on the stand." He's like, "You can't be serious." She goes, "I'll bet on the jury. So will my client." And he's like, "Then you're digging his grave." And he kind of scoffs at her. He's like, "Make sure you ask him for some tips." He's like, "Uh-huh." She's like, "Great." And he leaves. Oh, she's so pissed at him. So we've got the sewing circle working round the clock to transform the dress into the Ophelia like it was supposed to be, because this stupid dress shop messed up.
The fairy godmothers.
And so as they're working on Mel's dress, they're chatting. They're at Jack's bar doing this, of course, because that's, central location. And they're like, "I still can't believe that Muriel canceled her date with Walt Booth." And Liddy's like, "Well, she said she got a migraine." And Joellen's like, "I think she's not over Cameron." Now, Hannah comes up to the table.
Our
And,
girl.
yep, she's standing there. And Connie says, "Well, she should still give it a go." And Hannah's like, "I agree. Everyone knows the best way to get over someone is to get under." And Jack, just as she finishes that sentence, Jack walks in. Jack's like, "Morning, ladies." And Hannah's like, "I wasn't gossiping. You were. You were." And Connie's like, "Hello." And he's like, well, then carry on." Hannah looks at him kind of weird. She's like, "I thought you'd be in court." He goes, "Yeah, I'm on my way. Just got some bills and things I got to do." And she's like, "Look, I can do it. It's all hands on deck till Preach is back, and I got time." He goes, "There's nothing exciting on tap, just the June Lake Hazy IPA." And Jack like, there's one exciting thing." And look who walks in the door.
Oh, wow.
It's
Look at him.
Ricky, and he's so grown up. And Liddy turns around. She's like, "Ricky." He goes, "I'm home." And he's all dressed in his uniform with his duffel bag. And
And his crew
wow,
cut.
his crew cut. He's all grown up. So now we've got some beautiful scenery shots of snow-covered mountains.
So just quick question.
Mm.
In the book, and I can't remember because I read these books eons ago and I can't keep that information in my head. In the book, was she together with him with Ricky in the book? Lizzie? Was
Um,
Lizzie with Ricky or no?
I
Okay.
think she might have been. Because in the books, which I don't know if they're going to write this in or not. I don't know if he's coming back to the show. I don't know if he's completely gone. He gets injured, and Lizzie and Jack go to him, and they
Mm,
bring him home and nurse him back to health, and I think they wind up together.
okay.
So I don't. This Denny is like a passing person,
Right.
because in the books, Denny thinks that Jack is his father, because that's what
Right.
his mother told him, but it wasn't true. And
Right.
it's totally a different like situation. Like they use the same name and the same sort of like lightly took the
Hmm.
storyline, but then they completely did it differently.
Right. Right.
So yeah, they incorporated Denny much more in the TV show than in the books.
In the book.
So Ricky's back, and Liddy jumps up and gives him a big hug, and he goes, "Oh, Grandma, when did you get so strong?" And she goes, "Well, you're not the only one who's been training, dear." And she's looking at him. She's like so excited, tears in her eyes. She goes, "Connie and I have been taking a silver sneaker step class." And they both laugh. And he's like, "I really missed you." And she goes, "Why didn't you tell me you were coming home?" And he goes, "I wanted to surprise you." He goes, well, at my age, surprises can be risky. And she pinches
Yeah.
his cheeks. And Jack's like, Ricky. He goes, look at you. And he goes, the uniform suits you. And he stands at attention. He goes, thank you, sir. He goes, come on, I'm a civilian now. Cut it out. And he gives him a nice big hug. Oh, he goes, would you like something to drink? And he's, I can get handed and make you a root beer float. Oh, and she's so excited. She goes, I can't believe you're here. She's like giddy.
Yeah.
And Jack turns around. He goes, I'm not really a root beer float kind of guy anymore, but I don't have the heart to tell her. And Jack's like, so how was boot camp? And he goes, it went well. He goes, well as getting your ass kicked and your free will stripped can go. Jack's like, right? He goes, well, congrats on making it through, bud. He goes, thanks. He goes, thanks for the wedding invitation. He goes, I really wish I could come. He goes, nope, I understand. He goes, I mean, I didn't know if you could, but we just wanted to make sure that, you know, you knew that we loved you, wanted you here, and appreciate you. And he goes, I'm actually shipping out in 2 weeks. And Jack's like, what? You're being deployed? And Liddy's like, what? Where to? And he's like, somewhere in the Middle East.
Oh, Lord.
He's like, some guys think it's Syria, but we don't really know for sure. Now everybody looks worried. And Liddy grabs him and she hugs him and she's like, Ricky. And he's like, he actually looks really sad. Like, oh no, I probably shouldn't have said anything. But so that means that he's leaving like the week before the wedding because they have 3 weeks before the wedding and he's leaving in 2.
Oh, boy.
Jack says, so how do you feel about that? And Ricky's like, it's the job. I mean, there's like real concern on Jack's face.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Jack looks very worried.
he looks like he's going to cry. He goes, all right, well, he goes, I got to go. He goes, if you want to come by the farm later, I'm going to be there working. After 5, we could talk. And he's like, thanks, but it's okay, really. He goes, okay, well, welcome home. Pats him on the shoulder, and he's like, thank you. So now we've got Mel and her dog, Pony, taking a walk with Everett along the riverbank. Because remember, she said, I'm going to walk with you because you need exercise. So she has taken it upon herself to make sure that he walks. And so he asks her, how are your vows coming along? And she's like, slowly but surely. And he's like, why slowly? He goes, oh, not to place blame or anything, but treating your heart condition was kind of cut into my me time. He goes, you have your mother's sense of humor. You know that? She's like, no, I don't remember her sense of humor. She's like, I mostly remember her being sick. He goes, well, she was funny. Made me laugh like no other. He goes, thank you for telling me more about her. He goes, it really means a lot. He goes, so how did you find her after you two got separated at the march? And he looks at Mel and he's like, I didn't. She found me. She never told me her last name, but we told each other we'd meet back here one day, so I came back and waited. One of the good things about being a musician is what I lacked in money. I made up for it with time. The day she finally came back was the second best day of my entire life. The first being the day I met her. And Mel's like, well, why didn't you stay together? And he takes a big, deep breath. He goes, which time? She's very confused. So we assumed that they met one time, hooked up, she got pregnant, they stayed in touch, wrote letters, and then she passed away. But come to find out, that's not the case.
Yeah, there's more to this
It
story.
sounds like they were together for multiple times, multiple years. So Mel is very perplexed. He says, life pulled us apart a lot over the years. He goes, we always found our way back together. And after she married your dad, I thought it was over for good. Then one day, there she was again. And Mel's like perplexed. He goes,
I'm perplexed.
right? And you hear guitar music, and he's turns around and he nudges over. He's like, right over there, matter of fact. And Mel looks. So now we're doing a little flashback. So we have some music in the background, and there's a bench, and he's sitting on the bench looking out into the river. He's got a beard and a mustache now. Some time has passed because, you know, it's been a minute, and he stayed in Virgin River, I guess, waiting for her to come back. And he's just sitting there playing his guitar. And you see someone walk up, and he's singing a song, and there she is. And she's just standing there looking at him. And she says, "Sounds like a love song." And he turns around in surprise. And she looks different. Her hair is shorter. She looks older. He looks older. She's like, "Who's it about?" And he's like in shock. Like, "I can't even believe you're standing here in front of me." He's like, that is for me to know." She goes, "Well, I mean, have you finished it already?" She's like, "It's taken long enough because it must be the same song he was writing. Remember, before he just had music. Now he's got some
Right.
words. So he's been working on this same song for who knows how long."
Wow.
And he laughs and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's very sad. She's like, "Looking for you." And she's like crying. And he gets close. And he's like, "Hey." And he grabs her and he holds her as she cries on his shoulder. And they just hold each other there on the bench, the side of the. And it may have been a couple of years. And Mel's like, "Did she know that you were still here?" And he's like, "Yeah, she did. She just lost Chloe, and she and your dad were having a hard moment. She needed you. She was broken." And he's like, "So was I, actually." He goes, "We helped each other heal. Out of that came you." Yeah, we know what they were doing to heal. And Mel is just like unbelievable. She takes a deep breath and she's like, "Why did she go back to my dad if she's still in love with you?" And he's like, "It was complicated. They'd been through so much. She didn't want to throw it all away. Did he know that he wasn't my biological father?" Mel's very curious about this. And Everett's like, "Yes, he did." He goes, "But he loved your mother enough to forgive her and start again." Wow. What revelations. And Everett's like, "And I loved her enough to let you both go."
What I find interesting is that why didn't she marry him to begin with? I mean, and I don't think we'll ever find the answer to that.
Um, it's
You
sort
know,
of like I feel like you're led to believe that she wanted stability and being young, and it was sort of like expected. This was the 70s. Maybe she was expected to get married to someone who's going to provide for her and her family. Who she married was a much better choice than some.
yes. So, but you remember, you're talking about a woman who was part of serious movements and believed in free right and free
Yeah,
will and
I know,
all that.
but
So, I mean, the concept of falling into the stereotypical "what's expected of me" doesn't sound like someone of that. Well, who knows?
it doesn't. But there might have been a lot of pressure from family. It's kind of like, okay, go do your little thing and get it out of your system and come back to reality, and you need to do what you need to do. It may have been something like that. Like gave her free reign to go explore, but then, you know, maybe she got pressured to come back and live a real life and stop messing around.
I guess so.
Who knows? I mean, we may never know. I mean, it's all speculation,
Yeah.
but when she met him, it was like that was it. She was tied to him forever. And they kept finding each other over time. So Everett tells Mel, he goes, "Giving you away, knowing I'd miss out on all the moments of your life." And he looks like he's crying. Jeez. He goes, "Your first words, first day of school, first love." And she's crying too. He goes, "It's the hardest thing I've ever done." Wow. The two of them are just standing there tearing. So he chose to let her go, knowing that she was married, knowing that she had another child, knowing she just lost a child. Even though they created a child, it was like she already had the stability that she
Yeah.
needed, and he just took a step back. But he never left. He stayed there, maybe in the hope that she would change her mind someday,
Yeah.
but she passed
She
away.
got sick.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So now we're at the clinic, and Muriel, remember she found a lump when she was changing for her date? No one knows that that's what
You're
happened.
right.
That's why she canceled her
Exactly.
date.
Yeah.
And she's at the office at her desk, and she's feeling, and she still feels the lump. She's looking very worried. She's like looking at paperwork, but then she stops to make sure that the lump is still there, and it's still there. Like maybe she was imagining it, or maybe it wasn't what she thought it was. She kind of pulls herself together, and just as Doc and Denny walk in, and she's like, "Oh, good morning, you two." He goes, "Denny is going to observe today, and he's going to get an overview of what goes on here before he starts. But I want him to see firsthand that general medicine can be just as exciting as a day in the ER." He goes, "Now, what's on the schedule for today?" He goes, "Let me check it out." She goes, "Well, to start, we have Mr. Marks, irritable bowel, and it's been acting up. Next, we have Florence Denning. She's complaining of heat rash. And then there's Charlie, who has an aggressive case of folliculitis." And he goes, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And Denny's looking at Doc, and he goes, "Yeah, it's an infected hair follicle." Denny's like, "Oh." He goes, "But sometimes it can be a symptom of a larger, more systematic issue. See, being a good GP, general practitioner, you got to be part doctor, part detective." So Doc's going to give him the whole rundown. He goes, "So now let me check in with our first patient and make sure they're okay with you sitting in." And Denny's like, "Great." So Mira's like, "Are you all ready?" And Denny's like, "I think so." So Hope and Lizzie have arrived at the bakery truck, who is parked in a lovely location right along the river,
As it always
as
is.
it always is. And Lizzie's giving Hope her rundown of the schedule. And she's like, "You have calls with Bert to finalize concessions for the drive in." And she's like, "Bert?" And Lizzie's like, "Yeah, he's head of the Film Society." She's like, "And then you have a call with the county to discuss the environmental impact of releasing those animals during the fire." And she's like, "Ugh, I'm going to need all the coffee in the truck for this day." She's like, "Do you want a Lizzie special?" She's like, "Yeah, you're the best." She goes, "Remember that when my salary comes up at the town council." And Hope's like, "Yeah, mm-hmm." So Lizzie heads into the bakery truck to make Hope something special. And just as Hope turns around, who does she see walk up? And she's like, "Ricky? What on earth?" Like he's in his full uniform, hat and all. And she goes up, gives him a big hug, and she's like, "Hey." And he's like, "I was just hoping to find Lizzie." And she says, "Hi, I just figured you might be working here." She's happens to be particularly camouflaged at the moment. She's got
Yep.
a few boxes of something in front of her, and he is
Happens to
not
be.
able to see her current condition.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Well, actually, I don't work here anymore." Hope says, "Well, she works for me now." And Ricky's like, "So what are you doing back there?" And she goes, "Well, I really was." So the girl who is actually working there, she walked up. She goes, "I was really only gone for 5 minutes, Lizzie." And she goes, "And I was just going to make the Mara Lizzie special." And so she peeks out, and she's like, "I got really good at making those." She goes, "Then I'll get out of your way." And she lets her through so she can make a Lizzie special instead of Lizzie, because she got really good at it. And Lizzie comes out, and the look on Ricky's face
Dun, 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 dun,
when
dun.
he sees her belly
Mhm.
is like,
What did I miss?
yeah, like, he's like, "Wow, Grandma did not mention this. Congratulations." She goes, "Yes, congratulations. And thank you." They give a big hug. She's like, "Wow, so you got ripped?" He goes, "Yeah, and we already covered that. Man, we stopped writing for a few months." And She goes, "You're both busting out of your shirts. I'm going to give you a little privacy to catch up." And Hope takes her coffee and she's off.
Imagine Hope giving anybody privacy.
I know, it's kind of crazy. So, walking down the street is Brady, who is now a volunteer firefighter, and he's got his little volunteer firefighter jacket on, and he's walking with Lark because they're still together. And she's got some scam going. We don't exactly know what it is, but I mean, she's after his money, but we don't know how that's going to happen. And so Brady's like, "I can't stop thinking about your mom." Because remember, when we left our friends in Virgin River, she told a story that
Yes.
her mom was sick. So Brady and Lark are walking, and he's like, "I can't stop thinking about your mom." Because she laid it on real thick. And
Oh,
she's
yes,
like,
she did.
yeah. She's like, "It's not something you want to hear your boyfriend say." As they kind of chuckle a little bit. He goes, "Come on, Lark, I'm serious." He goes, "There's got to be something we can do to help her, you know?" And she's like, "There isn't. She just needs to figure out a way to get treatment." He goes, "Yeah, well, maybe I can help with that. Dialysis can't be that expensive." She goes, "Yes, it can. I won't let you even consider it. You have your dream with the garage and everything." Is Brady. "Stop." He's, "Come on, I want to help." Because he's a good guy. Deep down, he's a good guy.
Mm.
But, and she's going to pull at his heartstrings, of course.
Of course she is.
And he's like, "How much?" She's like, "It's $120,000. And he's like, "Wow, that's a lot." She goes, "Like I said, it's too much." And he goes, "Hey, let me be the judge of that, okay?" She's playing the teary-eyed, and they actually were walking, and they ended up right in front of the fire station, and a guy jumps out of the fire engine, and he's like, "Brady, we got a 1033 call. Code 901. Come on." She kisses him. He kisses her goodbye. Hold on. Okay, the call. Code 901. Come on. He kisses her goodbye, and he goes, "Go be on your way." And he goes, "That's Army. I was a Marine." Oh, she said, "Be all you can be." And he's like, "That's Army. I was a Marine." So he's off to do his thing, and she's plotting. So now she's planted the seed that she needs 120,000. Interesting. We'll see how that goes. Now we've got Lizzie and Ricky sitting on a bench together right by the bakery truck, looking out onto the Virgin River. Now, what a pair these two are. I mean, could you imagine that this is where they'd be right now?
Hell no. And you can tell by just their posture
How
how
they're
separate
sitting
their
so
lives.
far apart from each other.
Exactly.
They both have their hands. Her hands are folded over her belly. His are in his lap. It's very awkward because apparently they kept in touch while he was in boot camp, and then they kind of like updating on this is happening in Virgin River, and he was like updating her on how he was doing in boot camp, and then they kind of stopped writing, and here we are. So he's like, "I'm sorry I stopped writing," and she's like, "It's okay." She goes, "I mean, I was sad at first, but you know, you had a lot going on." And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "So did you, clearly." And they both look at her belly. She goes, "It's not that. I didn't not want to talk to you." He goes, "I did. I just," he's like, "thought it might be easier if I just let go of my old life so I could commit to this one." And she's like, "I get it." She was hard to move forward when you're still looking back. And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "When did you get wise?" She goes, "I don't know." She goes, "Well, it's a good thing I did because I'm about to be a mom." And they kind of both chuckle. He goes, "That's crazy. Never would have thought that." And she goes, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "Nothing. I just never thought you wanted to be a mom. Eventually, maybe, but not this soon." He goes, "You know, life as you know it, it's going to be over forever." She goes, "Wow, Ricky, I'm having a baby, not a funeral. And I'm okay with adulting." I'm excited, actually. Being a mom is going to be great.
Says a woman who's never
Yeah.
been around
She
children.
goes, and I don't need to justify it to you. And he goes, no, no, you don't. And then her phone rings, and she's kind of getting upset with him. And she goes, I got to run. I'm sorry. He goes, I'm so sorry for upsetting you. She goes, like, I'm not upset. I'm just busy. He goes, well, it's good to see you. They hug each other. She gets up and she leaves. And he feels really bad. And he pulls out of his pocket a flask. Alcohol.
The
Mm-hmm.
military men, some of them,
Have
this
the
is how they
flask.
mask the pain.
Yep. So Doc has Charlie there in his hospital gown, and Denny is standing by, and he goes, I hate to say it to you, Charlie, but due to the recurrence of your folliculitis, I think it's being caused by something more than the chafing from your airplane seat. He goes, well, just give it to me straight, Doc. He goes, I think you're suffering from chronic vitamin A or vitamin C deficiency. Now, lack of vitamin A can cause the skin to show hyperkeratosis, dryness, and generalized wrinkling. And vitamin C deprivation can cause follicular hyperkeratosis. Now, we can run some more conclusive tests, but. And Charlie's like, but? What do you mean, but? He thinks it's terrible. He goes, I can't, Doc. Sure, you can. He goes, come on. And they both start laughing. They're both having a good time. They're putting on a show for Denny. He goes, sorry, I just didn't want you to think, small town medicine was boring. Oh, so Doc's like, thanks for playing along, Charlie. Goodness, they're a bunch of goofballs. And Doc's like, I'll get you some cream for that rash. So it was no big deal. They're just messing with Denny.
Well, they got to make it interesting his first day.
Especially when there is none, when it's not interesting. So somebody's like, Dr. Mullins, because he gets a phone call, and he's like, yes, okay. And he's like, we'll be on our way, yes. And he goes, there's an emergency, a real one, I promise. And he says to Denny, you want to come? And he goes, oh, you didn't mean me? He goes, no. He goes, bye, Charlie. And they head out. And Doc yells at Muriel. She's like, hey, cancel my afternoon. Denny and I have to help a boy who fell in a sinkhole.
That's going
And
to be exciting.
right? And Denny's like, I'm going to pull the truck around and I'll meet you in front. And Muriel's like, wait, why do you seem so excited over such a catastrophic event? And he's like, I'm not excited. I am, however, optimistic that this is a very teachable moment for my grandson. He's okay. And Mel's like, hi. He goes, what are you so excited about? He goes, I'm not excited. As he runs out the door. Mel and Muriel are together in the kitchen. And Muriel's like, so, what are you doing here? She goes, I wasn't expecting you in. I thought you were wedding planning. And she's like, I am. I mean, I have a patient that needed a quick checkup. So I'm waiting for her. And she goes, well, maybe while you're waiting, do you think you might be able to make room for one more? And Mel looks a little suspicious at Muriel. So now we're back in the courtroom. And everybody's there.
Oh, the drama begins
Yep.
literally.
Jack shows up. He sits down with Kaya, and Mike's there. And he's like, did I miss anything? And she's like, no, 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 they're just getting started. And Hope gets there also, and she gets her seat. And they say, please call your next witness. Bree looks at Preacher kind of like, are you ready? And he's like, yeah. And Bree stands up. She goes, the defense would like to call John Middleton to the stand. And Judge nods yes. Somber music plays. He buttons his jacket, his suit jacket. Jack looks very nervous. Kaya everybody looks so nervous. So there's a boy stuck in a sinkhole, and fire engines are blaring, and everybody's heading to where this is happening. There's a bunch of townspeople around. The fire department's there, which means Brady. And the kid's dad is there, and he's like, Brady walks up, and he's like, Frank, you all right? And he goes, my nephew's down there. He goes, what? He goes, don't worry, we'll get Jake out. So he goes, we'll drop a ladder in there, and think you can climb up? He goes, I can't see him or hear him. I don't know how deep it goes. He goes, I don't know if he's okay. He goes, okay. So the guy's like, right. So we get a harness and a rope bag, and I'm going to go in. Fireman is like, that sinkhole doesn't look sturdy, Roy. Besides, you're filling in for Chief. So he actually can't go in because the chief isn't allowed. Somebody's got to be in charge. So Brady steps up, and he's like, let me go in. And he goes, "Rookie, you have no idea what you're doing." And this is a guy who's kind of been giving him a hard time. He's also given Kaya a hard time.
He's an ass,
Yeah, he's
basically.
basically been an ass. And he goes, "I've done 3 tours in Iraq. I'm pretty sure I can handle a sinkhole. Besides, the kid knows me." And the guy's like, "All right, harness him up." And he goes, "I'm on it." So we're back in the courtroom, and Bree walks up to Preacher, who's on the stand. And she's like, "Mr. Middleton, why don't you tell the jury in your own words what really happened?" He just looks so somber. And he's like,
Yeah.
"I buried Wes's body in the woods." And Bree's like, "So you admit to that?" And he's like, "Yes." He's like, "Do you also admit to killing him?" And he's like, "No, absolutely not." He goes, "He was dead when I got to Paige's house. She told me it was an accident." "And you believed her?" He's like, "Yes." "He fell down the stairs." She's, "Okay, so you thought it was an accident. When you saw that Wes was dead, why didn't you call the police?" And he's like, "Because Wes was the police. Paige told me that he had abused her for years and had convinced his fellow officers that she wasn't the victim. He was. No one would ever believe her. That's why she ran in the first place." And Bree's like, "So what you're saying is Paige still thought she was in danger?" And he's like, "That's right. The police, who were sworn to protect her, didn't. So she called me." He goes, "Now I made a vow when I became a Marine to protect American citizens from enemies, foreign and domestic." And they're showing the different people who are on his side. Mike, Hope. He goes, "And I honored it that night. If that makes me a criminal, then so be it." And Bree's like, "I think it makes you a hero." And the prosecutor stands up and he's like, "Objection." And the judge is like, "That'll be for the jury to decide." And Bree's like, "No further questions, Your Honor." Now it's the other guy's turn to take a crack at Preacher. So we're back at the site where the boy fell in the well, the sinkhole, and they've set up this tripod above the hole, and Brady is attached to this thing that they're going to lower him down to get the kid out. I mean, it's kind of surprising that they're letting him do that, you know? So Brady's being lowered down, and that's when Doc and Denny show up because the kid might need medical attention once they pull him out.
Okay, before we get to anything else, I love the fact that Doc still has this truck.
You know what? Hope said for, I don't know, back in season like 1 or 2, she's
One,
like,
yeah.
"Why do you still have this old truck? Why don't you buy yourself something new?" And he won't. He likes his truck. He's set in his ways.
Amen to that.
So Doc and Denny grab their doctor bags, medical equipment, and they're running over near the hole. And they're lowering Brady down. And he's like, "Lower, steady." Doc's like, "How long has he been down there?" And somebody's like, "A couple of hours." And he goes, "But we should have him out soon." So everyone's just kind of standing around as Brady is getting lowered down. He goes, "That's it." It's a pretty big hole and it's pretty far down. The kid should have like broken legs or something. And he starts yelling out, "Jake, are you down here?" And Jake's like, "I'm here," but it's kind of weak. And he's like, "Jake?" He goes, "Almost there." So he gets to the bottom and he goes, "Okay, we're good." And he's looking around. And he's like, "Hey, buddy." He goes, "It's Brady. Remember me?" And he's like, "Yeah, from the camps." He goes, "You all right?" And he's like, "No." He goes, "What's wrong?" He's like, "Your arm?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, don't worry. You're going to be fine. We're going to get you out of here." So he sets him up. He puts a harness on him and attaches him with him. And the two of them are starting to get hoisted up. And the sides of the sinkhole start caving in. And so they're just going up nice and slow. Hopefully they'll get out of there soon. So we're back at the clinic. So Muriel, after she had told Mel she found a lump, she brought her back to the birthing center. And Muriel's like, "Better safe than sorry." And Mel's like, "Of course." She gets the ultrasound machine. She goes, "It can't hurt to check." She goes, "Okay, it's going to be a bit cold." And she takes the ultrasound and she's looking. Muriel's looking a little nervous. She goes, "You have a family history of breast cancer?" Muriel's like, "No." And Mel's like looking. And Muriel's like, what is it? And Mel has that look on her face, the same one that Muriel says, what's that look? And she's like, it could be nothing. She's like, but I'd like you to schedule a quick biopsy in Clear River, just to be safe, like you said. She goes, a biopsy isn't nothing. She's like, I guess it's a good thing I canceled my date. Not exactly a great time to start something new, is it? And Mel's like, Muriel. She's like, no matter what happens with the biopsy, don't let that stop you from living your life. Muriel's crying. She's like, but what if it's cancer? And Mel's like, then we'll beat it. She's like, yeah. And so she gives her a hug. Big hugs. Like, really good hugs.
Comforting hugs.
Yeah. So we're back at the site where the sinkhole is, and the sinkhole is a little bit starting to lose the sides, which is kind of dangerous. So they're like, get him out of there now before the whole thing collapses. So they're pulling him up. He goes, come on, come on. And they're pulling him up. They finally get him up to the top. And they, on the count of 3, they're going to swing him over to get him off of there. They finally get him out and away. He goes, get him over here on the backboard. And Brady carries him. They lay him down. And they're going to check him out. He broke his arm in the fall. That'll be easy enough to set. Doc's taking care of things. He's hypothermic from all the cold air down there. And they're asking for blankets and things to keep him warm. And Doc's like, into the trailer. And they're like, you heard Doc. And they pick up the board, the backboard with the kid on it. And they're going to take him in the trailer. And Doc grabs Denny and he's like, come on, I'll show you how to set his arm. And Denny's like, okay, because, he's just there to learn. Mel's still at the birthing center, and she calls Jack, and he answers. He's like, hey. And she's like, hey, babe, how's it going over there? And he's like, well, we're just on a brief recess. Bree just finished questioning Preacher. It's hard to say. It could go either way. How about you? How's your day going? She's like, well, up and down. The ups, I've decided to ask Everett to walk me down the aisle.
Oh.
Okay. I have a big problem
Me
with
too.
that.
I have a big problem with that. I'm sorry.
I get that. I get why, but why can't
Right.
she have both of them?
Both of them. Exactly. Go Jewish on yourself.
Or have one walk halfway down and have the other walk the other half. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like that's a slap in the face to Doc.
I totally agree with you there. I think
I
it was a
did
bad
not like
call.
that.
Yeah, I think it's a bad call, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't. No, I didn't like that at all. I was like, come on, Mel. Really? Not cool. But I don't know. And he's like, wow, really? He goes, yeah. He said giving me away was the hardest thing he's ever done. Like, literally giving her away. You want him to do it again? She goes, no, I want to reframe it in a positive light. So they kind of both laugh at that. She's like, I just realized he missed out on so many important moments in my life. And I want him to be a part of this one. Now I just have to tell Doc. And he goes, oh, you're on your own for that one. She goes, yeah, okay, nice try, Sheridan. He goes, love you too, almost Sheridan. Now, I get where she's coming from. I understand her reason, but I would not have done that. I understand her reasoning for wanting him to walk her down the aisle because he already gave her away once.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, you remember that conversation they had at the river where he said he missed her walk.
He missed
and
everything.
I missed everything, and I get that, and I'm not trying to be not sympathetic here, but you have to understand that Doc's been a very big part of your life as well, and I think she, like everything with Mel, it's all emotion, and
Yeah.
she's not thinking this out, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think she's just going with the emotion first and not thinking of the consequences that it may have,
Yeah.
but whatever.
She's trying to please everybody.
Can't
It's
please
just,
everybody.
yeah, you're not. I mean, there's got to be a better way. And there's still time. I mean, things could change.
Yeah.
So as Jack is standing, because he was having that conversation with Mel, checking in, how's her day, how's his day, while he's on a brief recess from Preacher's case, he's standing out on the court steps, and we see Charmaine. And Calvin says, can't keep me away from my boy, Charmaine. And she's like, actually, I have sole custody now, Calvin, so yes, I can. And Jack is like, hey, Charmaine, everything all right here?
And we see a new character, a new
Yes,
actor play the role.
it's a different guy. They tried to go with someone who looked like him, but
Yeah,
it's
it'll
not
work.
him. And the guy who played it, he was actually in a different show. And I believe the reason that he couldn't do this season was because the show that he's on regularly um, was filming at the same time. So he wasn't available. I'm hoping that they bring him back for they brought him back for season 7. I didn't look it up to see. I'll have to check
Mhm.
that out and see if they brought him back. But there's this different guy and he doesn't have the same swagger, and I'm sure he's a lovely man, but
Grit. It doesn't have the same grit.
no, he's just it's not the same. They did what they had to do, but whatever. Or he's like, everything's fine, Jack. Yeah, I was just talking to Charmaine. And Charmaine is like, well, it will be fine when he leaves me alone. And he's like, get ready for a fight. And Jack's like, hey, 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 hey. And he puts his hand on Calvin's shoulder and he kind of pulls him back a little bit. He goes, I was talking to Charmaine. And he leaves. Charmaine's with him and he's like, are you okay? And she goes, yeah, thanks for that. She goes, are you here for preacher's trial? And he goes, yeah. What about you? What are you doing here? And she's like, Calvin's been overstepping with the twins and he keeps showing up out of nowhere. So I petitioned for sole custody and they granted it. He goes, oh, that's good news. She goes, yeah, I mean, as long as he stays away. I guess this is what I get for sleeping with the enemy, huh? He goes, no, come on now. He goes, you don't deserve to have to deal with this guy forever. He goes, I'm really glad you're doing whatever it takes to protect yourself. He goes, thanks, me too. And she's very teary. And then Mike comes out and he goes, Jack, the jury's back in. And he's like, I gotta go. She goes, let me know how it goes, okay? And he's like, yeah. I always wondered that when she got sole custody, I
Mhm.
always wondered if something ever happened to her, because she has to think that Calvin is a bad guy.
Mm.
You
That's
know,
an understatement.
what if he does something? What if he
Mhm.
hurts her? What if he wants to take the kid? Like, there could be anything that he could do. And I wonder if when she was petitioning for sole custody, if she maybe threw something in there, like, if something happens to me, where are those kids going to go? I mean, she has an aunt in Oregon, but I know the
Yeah,
theory was Jack was supposed to, be the father. What if she said Mel and Jack can take the kids? Like, at least I know they'll be safe and taken care of, and he'll make sure that Calvin stays. Not that Mel wants Charmaine's kids; she wants her own kids. But
right.
there was a theory. There was a one time where Jack almost had a whole bunch of kids all at once, and
Yeah,
now he's got none. But I was always like thinking, what did she ever have a contingency plan?
good point.
Because being mixed up with Calvin, you got to think ahead.
It basically it's a mafia
It
situation. You
really
know what?
is.
It's a mafia
It's the
situation.
the underworld, the underbelly
Mhm.
of the drug trade and all that.
Exactly.
Just because Melissa's gone doesn't mean he's not, didn't move on to other shady stuff. I mean, he's just that kind of
Exactly.
guy.
Yep.
And you don't give that up for sure.
Oh hell no. He loved having that kind of money.
And the power, oh yeah.
Mm.
So we're back in the courtroom. And Bree's like, ladies and gentlemen, I don't envy your job today. So this must be closing arguments.
Mhm.
The power you wield is greater than that of any judge or lawyer, because it is the power of justice itself. Now, you heard the DA paint my client as a broken Marine out for vigilante justice. But as you saw, John Preacher Middleton is a good man. He's a good friend who was trying to protect a survivor of domestic abuse after she came to Virgin River to escape. But trauma followed her, as trauma at the hands of someone you love often does. And her attacker followed her too, which is a disturbingly common occurrence in these cases. And they keep panning to like the friends and the jury and Mike and Kaya. And what came next was simply a tragic accident. That is all. There is nothing but circumstantial evidence to suggest otherwise. The facts are clear. All John Middleton is guilty of is trying to help end a cycle of abuse, a cycle that would have separated an abused woman from her son, and now threatens to put an honorable man in jail. When will it stop? That is up to you. You have the power to end it right here by finding my client not guilty. So, we're back at the trailer, which
where the sinkhole is.
Yep, right near the sinkhole. And Denny is all excited. He goes, "That was cool. Thanks for letting me tag along today." Doc's got his doctor bag. It's a very traditional 1960s doctor bag, when doctors used to do house calls and they had their doctor bag out. And Doc's just got one. It's great that he still carries one. And Doc's like, "Well, I know you're interested in working in the ER." He's like, "But I'm just glad you get a chance to see that this job can be exciting too." He goes, "This was exciting, but honestly, watching you work at the clinic was great too. I mean, it's cool to show up and save the day, but the way you show up for your patients day in and day out, that's what makes you the kind of doctor I want to be." And Doc's like, "Thank you." He goes, there he is. He goes, "Hey, good job." And he shakes Brady's hand. He goes, "You too, Doc." And he's like, "Thanks, Dr. Mullins." And that's the kid's uncle. And he's shaking Doc's hand and Brady. And he goes, "Thanks, Brady." And Doc's like, "He's the man." He goes, "No, it was a team effort." He goes, "Well, Denny, we got to get back to the clinic before Mira realizes she can run the place without us." They head out. And this guy, the kid's uncle, he's like, "Thanks, Brady." He goes, "I'm sorry to drag you out here. This was all my fault." And Brady's like, "I'm not sure how a sinkhole could be your fault, Frank. Not unless you're doing some fracking. I don't know about." He goes, "Well, we just had nowhere to go after the fire." And he goes, "Hey, you're doing your best, okay? That's all that matters." He's like, "Yeah, I guess. Not everybody in the camps was as lucky as Lark. How is she, by the way?" Jake misses her. He goes, "Does he?" "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, she's good. She's good. It's tough right now with things with her mom, but..." And Frank is looking at Brady like weird. And he's like, "Her mom's sick?" "Oh." He goes, "Lark's mom is sick? What?" He goes, "That's weird. I play cards with her every week. And she drinks me under the table. Seems fine to me." And Brady's like, "Huh. So what's the chance that Brady would run into somebody who knows Lark's mom? I mean, seriously. I mean, obviously, Lark's lying.
That's the thing, because the other interesting thing that we all know is that while we don't get to see everybody in the town and everybody in the surrounding areas, everybody knows everybody to some
Yes.
degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it's where a lie can catch up with you real fast.
Oh, yeah. And
Yet,
I'm sure Lark never expected that
right. And it's not like
that
they're
would happen.
living in a city. It's Virgin River. You
Yeah.
spit and you're right next to somebody.
Yeah.
So excuse the expression, but you
No,
know
I
what I
get
mean.
it. Yeah. I mean, everybody knows everybody's everything. Like, your news is not news.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, Lark's going to try to run with that one, and we'll see how far that goes. So we're back at the barn, and Jack has Sugar, and he's bringing Sugar out, and he's like, come on, good boy." And he walks Sugar, and he ties the rope around the thing so she doesn't get away. And we see a car pulling up, coming in hot, like crazy fast, crazy driving.
I'm
And
telling you.
Ricky gets out. And Jack's
Ooh.
looking at him like, "What the heck is going on with you?" And he's like, "Hey, Ricky." Because remember, Jack asked Ricky to come after 5 o'clock
Right.
and they would talk. And he was like, "No, I'm good." Well, he decided to come, but he came in driving like a crazy person.
Mm.
And he's like, "Hey, Ricky." And he goes, "Hey, Jack."
And he smells the alcohol, I could
And
tell.
Jack's like, "What's going on?" And Ricky's like, "Nothing." And he slurs and he's like, "You said if I wanted to talk, you'd be here." And I figured, we could talk, so here I am. And Jack's like, "You been drinking?" And he's like, "What? No, no, why? Why would you say that?" And Jack's looking at him like a dad catching a kid sneaking in from a Friday night.
And he can sense there's a lie
And
there a
he's
mile
caught. I
long.
mean, he looks caught. And he's like, "What's going on, Ricky?" Very stern. So he pulls out some chairs and he gets some coffee and he hands him some coffee. His coffee should help. And he's like, "Thanks." And the two of them are sitting inside the doorway of the barn on some like camping chairs. And he's making them drink some coffee. And Jack's got to have a talking. Because remember, Ricky doesn't have parents, he's got Liddy. And Jack has been there to guide him up to this point.
Yeah.
So it looks
It's
like his job is not done yet.
yeah, it's his father figure.
Yeah, and he needs it right now, big time. And Jack's like, "So, what were you thinking?" Jack's like, "I thought we had the whole drinking and driving talk." And Ricky's like, shakes his head, "Yeah." He goes, "Since when were you a drinker anyway?" And Ricky's like, "Since I found out I was getting deployed." So it really did bother him. Because
Mm-hmm.
remember when they asked him about it, he was like, "Yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's my duty." Yeah. Oh. He's freaking out. He's like, I've just been having a little bit here and there. He goes, to take the edge off. He goes, "But when I saw Lizzie," he's like, "kind of went off the deep end." He goes, "She's building a life here." And it made me think, what if I don't get the chance to do that? What if I don't get to come home? And Jack's like, "Hey, hey, hey, calm down." He goes, "You cannot think like that. You hear me? All right. You have to believe in yourself and your fellow Marines." I mean, he's acting like he's going into this by himself. I mean, he's going to have a platoon. He's going to have a group of guys. He's going to
Yeah, he's
have
got a brother.
people. Yeah,
Gonna have a brotherhood.
he's going to have that. He's going to have people to watch his back, and he's going to watch their back. And I think he's forgotten that part. He goes, "All right, you have to believe in yourself and your fellow Marines. And you're going to talk to someone before you go off the deep end." And he's shaking his head, yes. And he's like, "Okay." And he's like, "Okay." He goes, "Yeah, that's why I'm here." He's like, "Jack," and he takes a deep breath, "I'm scared." He's like, "I'm really scared." I mean, Jack gets it. Jack was deployed a whole bunch of times. And he's
Yeah.
like, "You'd be a fool not to be." He goes, "I get it. I felt the exact same way." He's like, "You were scared? You, Jack Sheridan?" He goes, "Oh, yeah." And he sits back across his leg. He goes, "Man." He goes, "I was terrified." He goes, "I tried drinking, make it all go away, but it didn't work. Nothing did. Then I realized a good Marine doesn't act in the absence of fear. They act in the face of it." He goes, "So I did. So will you." See, this is exactly what he needed.
Yeah.
He goes, "You make it sound so easy." And they laugh. He goes, "Sorry to tell you, it's not. It ain't easy. It's tough. It might be the toughest thing you'll ever have to do. But I'll tell you something. If I'm strong enough to face it, so are you." He's being such a dad. Oh. He goes, "So
Yeah.
are you." He's such a good dad figure.
He is.
Get him on this. I mean, he only went off the deep end for like a hot minute, and he got him right back on track.
You gotta nip it in the bud
Right?
early.
Yeah. So Bree and Mike are back at her place, and she's looking at her phone, and she's stressed out, and she's like, "Ugh." She goes, "This waiting is the worst part." And she's looking at her phone, and she gets a message from Jack wondering when are they going to hear? And she's like, "Yeah, from your lips." And he's like, "You were a total rock star today. Seeing you in action." She's like, "Was it a turn on?" And they're kissing. They're very cute together. Oh, and she's going to unbutton his shirt. Okay.
We're gonna have a little get rid of some stress levels.
Apparently. And he grabs her hands to stop her, and she's like, "Not a turn on?" He goes, "Yeah, I mean, yes, but." He's like, "Are you sure you want to do this right now?" She goes, "This? Oh no, this?" He goes, "Nope, I just slipped and fell onto your buttons. She goes, right, okay. They're funny. He goes, I just thought you might want to talk. She's like, about what? He goes, oh my God.
Sorry.
Mike, dude, she's
Uh, dude, you're starting to sound like a woman.
well, and he's constantly going in like therapist mode. He's like, when you
Yeah.
were talking about Paige's trauma following her, she's looking at him. He goes, it was pretty obvious that you were talking about yourself. And she's a little frustrated with him. She's like, got her hand over her eyes, like, ugh, like, dude. She's like, okay. Like, you just killed the moment.
Yes, he did.
She goes, what part of me trying to seduce you made you think I want to have a chat about my sexual assault?
Ah,
Mike. He goes, I'm just trying to be supportive. She's like, if you want to be supportive, maybe just help me feel normal. Wanted. He's like, okay, you're right. Okay, I'm sorry. He goes and grabs her chin. He's like, hey, hey. He goes, you are wanted. She goes, yeah, it's okay. Really, I should just get some rest. She
buzzkill.
grabs her phone. Yep. He goes, she's like, who knows what we're facing tomorrow, so.
Mike, 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 Mike.
Yeah, and he's like, ruin that moment, idiot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's almost too good of a guy. Like, don't try so. He's trying so hard. It's like a little bit forced.
Yeah.
Ugh. So now we're back at the cabin. Nice music in the background. And Jack had just texted Bree, and Bree's answer was, it could be a while. You just have to all
Yeah.
be patient. So Mel walks over, sits it on the bed next to him, and he shows her his phone that what Bree said, that it could be a while. You know, they're just basically it's in the jury's hands at this point. All they can do is wait for the jury to come back, and there's nothing else that anybody can do. They've done everything they can do. So she's just hugging him. And now we have Preacher and Kaya. They're in bed, and he's staring straight up into the ceiling. And she goes to hold his hand. And it's the next morning, and they're just having breakfast. And then it shows cleaning up the dishes, and it's still a while later. And time is passing, and it's just like them. It's like the waiting game. Walking around the living room, and he's cooking, and she's, they're just doing home tasks in the kitchen. And as the sun goes down, slowly, the day is passing, and they're just hanging out at home, and it's a waiting game. Checking the phone. Now it's dinner time. Now it's nighttime. He's sitting basically in the dark in the kitchen by himself. And they're just waiting because there's nothing else they can do.
The deliberations have been going on for a while,
Yep.
which is always tough
It's like
on the people waiting.
first day or two of deliberations. He's in bed. He's still looking at his phone. She's asleep, but he can't sleep.
Well, yeah.
Understandably. So it's
Exactly.
another morning. He's pouring himself some coffee. And Kaya comes in, and she's like, Bree just texted. He's like, is there a verdict? She's like, she didn't say. She just said to get to the courthouse ASAP. So that's what they do. Everyone gets ready, and they head to the courthouse.
Here the fun starts.
So we've got Bree and Preacher talking, and everybody's there. Mike and Kaya and Hope. And the judge is like, has the jury reached a verdict? Mel's there with Jack. Like, everybody's there. And the jury foreman stands up. He goes, we are unable to reach a unanimous verdict. We're evenly split. And Preacher's like, what does that mean? And Bree's like, it's a hung jury. He goes, so the DA could try me again? She goes, not if I can help it. And Bree asks, Your Honor, may we have a sidebar? And she's like, counselors. And so both the prosecutor and Bree go up to the judge. She's like, I want this to end here and now. So your client wants to plead it to involuntary manslaughter? And the prosecutor's like, with a 6-6 hung jury, not a chance. She goes, but I will give you illegal disposal of human remains, which he already admitted to. You get a conviction. He gets a misdemeanor. and 100 hours of community service.
Okay.
And the prosecutor looks back at Preacher, and everybody's stressing.
Everybody's holding their breath.
Yeah.
Talk about stress.
And he's like, 300 hours. You know she's
Oh, good Lord.
right? He just wants something. He just wants to feel like he won. She's like, deal. There you go. And it was over.
Wow.
Wow. So now everybody's at Jack's bar. They're all celebrating. And Preacher's like, not to say I told you so, but I told you that I'd be at your wedding, as he says this to Jack and Mel. He goes, I never doubted for a second. He goes, yeah, I did. And I'm really, really glad that I was wrong, okay? So him and Kaya and Mel and Jack are just laughing about it. Like, thank God. Big hugs, Jack and Preacher. And he goes, brother. And Muriel sees Mel and she's like, hey, Mel. She goes, hey. She goes, I wanted to thank you again for the other day. She goes, oh my gosh, of course. She goes, I took your advice and I scheduled a biopsy. And I rescheduled my date with Walt Booth for tomorrow. And she's like, oh. She goes, I know, right? And you know what? If everything goes well, it just might let him get to second base. And Mel's like, oh my gosh. She goes, well, he's got to enjoy these while they last, right? Mel's cracking up.
Oh, yes.
She goes, you're going to be fine. She goes, I'm really happy you haven't lost your sense of humor. She goes, no, nothing's going to take that away. She's like, thank you. And they give a big hug. She goes, yeah. And then Mel is shocked when she sees somebody walk through the door. She goes, can you excuse me? She goes, yeah, of course. Thank you. And it's Doc. And she goes, hey. She goes, how was your day? And she goes, oh, it was pretty good. She goes, yeah. Can I just talk to you for a minute? He goes, well, the day's not over. It could still turn. No, it's nothing bad. She's like, it's about the wedding. They sit down at a booth. She's like, I've been thinking a lot, and I think, well, she clears her throat. She goes, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind if Everett walks me down the aisle. Doc's like, oh. And you can see the disappointment just roll over his whole face.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, well, I kind of expected as much, but I do understand. She goes, well, I know you understand, but do you mind? Takes a long pause, and he's like, standing beside you for your big moment is not as important to me as standing beside you for all the small ones. What a guy.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, but you better save me a dance. She's like, I will save you too. He goes, also, I would love it if you would do a reading. I have a special poem picked out. And he's like, oh, sounds lovely. And just then, Bree and Mike walk in. And Preacher's like, there she is. And he goes, best lawyer in town. And everybody's clapping and applauding. And he goes over and gives Preacher a big hug. He's like 3 feet taller than her. It's so cute.
Most of the women in this town are.
And Mike leans over, kisses her on the side of her head, and he's like, you did it. And Brady's there, puts Hazel up on a bench, and kind of looking at the crowd of people celebrating Preacher. And Hazel's like, when will my mom be back from work? And he's like, well, she should be here any minute. In the meantime, do you want a Shirley Temple? She's like, that depends. What is a Shirley Temple? He's like, you never had a Shirley Temple before? And she's like, no. He's like, oh my gosh, let me show you. Do you like cherries? And she's like, yes. And Bree walks up while he's making Hazel a Shirley Temple, and she's like, hey. And he's like, hey. He's like, how you been? She goes, I've been good. She's like, he's like, it's been a minute. She's like, yeah. She's like, do you mind getting me a glass of white wine back there? He goes, well, I no longer work here, so... He goes, oh, I know. I heard you went all Mission Impossible into a sinkhole and saved a little kid. He goes, I heard you went all To Kill a Mockingbird in the courtroom and saved Preach.
What I mean, this is the point I'm making. There are two different parts of this town in this era, and the fact that the news has already reached each of them is amazing.
Absolutely. Nothing is held back in this town.
Hell no.
And Hazel's like, sorry to interrupt, but my Shirley Temple isn't going to make itself. And Bree just kind of like chuckles under her breath. Like, okay. And he's like,
We
well,
got
I'll get right on that.
Miss Sassy.
And they kind of chuckle. So there's music playing on the jukebox, and people are talking and serving food, and people are playing music, and everybody's there. And Liddy
Mm-hmm.
goes over to the bar and talks to Jack. She's like, hey, Liddy. She's like, Ricky doesn't seem scared about being deployed, but I'm still scared for him. She looks very worried. He goes, we're all scared, Liddy. Grabs her hand. He goes, but Ricky is coming home. They're both teary. Aw. So Bree has decided she's going to play pool with Kaya, probably with Mike and Preacher. And Lark walks in. Lark is like, nice shot. And Bree's like, oh, hello. And she goes, hey, congrats on the big win. Even she heard about it. She goes,
Well,
Brady always said you were amazing. He goes, well, he's amazing too. She's like, he really is. You never should have let him go. I mean,
good Lord.
I know.
Did she? Okay, now things were going so well
I
until
know.
she did.
Yep. And she's like, you never should have let him go. And she's like, well, I'm glad you did, so I guess I should say thank you.
Ah.
She's like, you're welcome.
That's a Charmaine move,
right?
That's a Charmaine attitude.
I mean, we
and
don't
a
like her.
move.
We don't like her.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, she's underhanded, and she's been plotting since the beginning. She's just trying to get his money. She's secretly seeing Brady, who is actually Jimmy's girl with Hazel, which is Jimmy's daughter. Like, this is so messed up. I feel so bad for Brady because he's turned his life around. He's trying to do the right thing, and this is what he has to deal with? Really? It's ridiculous. So the two of them are doing some awkward chuckling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Lark is like, well, I should go. And Bree's like, yeah, me too. Like, get back. She needs to get back to her game, and Lark needs to be on her way. And Bree is kind of like, what is with that chick? Like, that look on her face is like, what is with that chick? Like, I'm not with him. I'm with someone else. He's yours. Why do you need to, like, throw it in my face or something?
Territorial.
It's so
the same crap. It's the same crap that Charmaine had pulled.
Yep. So Lark shows up, and she walks up to the bar where Hazel is sitting, gives her a hug and a kiss on the head, and she's like, hi. And she goes, I'll have what she's having. And he goes, plus vodka. He goes, thanks for picking up Hazel. He goes, yep, no problem. I feel like I've barely seen you in the last few days. He goes, yeah. He's like, sorry about that. She's like, it's okay. He's like, how's your mom feeling? He's like, barely got out of bed today. Maybe, he's like, maybe we should go visit her, you know? See if we can help. She's like, I think we should get her started on her treatment first, see how it goes. And he's like, yeah, sure. Whatever you say. Now he's skeptical. It's like he doesn't want to believe that something's up. But, yeah, it's hard.
But he's always been a suspicious character of people in general. He doesn't trust people easily.
And honestly, he's got good reason because people lie to him all the time. So we've got Doc sitting at one of the tables, one of the booths, having a drink, and Hope joins him. She's like, hi, darling. He's like, hey, everything okay? And he's like, well, Mel wants Everett to walk her down the aisle. And Hope is like, and you agreed? He goes, what else am I supposed to say? He goes, that you love her like a daughter, and her asking you that so Everett could take your place broke your heart. I mean, that's true.
Amen. Exactly.
And he just takes a deep breath. He goes, maybe that's a bit too far. He goes, yeah. She goes, hey, at least she didn't ask you to do a reading. And he goes, oh, actually, she did. And Hope's like, oh, God. So Jack is giving some stuff to Hannah, who's behind the bar. And then Mel walks up and she's like, the deed is done. And he's like, huh? She's like, I think Doc took it well. He goes, what? You should have grabbed me. I was going to help you break the news. He goes, no. It's okay. I mean, you have a lot on your plate. Yeah, I think I finally understand how my parents felt when I went to war. And I can't help but think if it wasn't for me supporting him, then Liddy wouldn't have to feel the same way I did. Do you regret supporting Ricky's decision to enlist? And Jack's sort of thinking. He's like, I don't know. He goes, I mean, it was hard seeing him drunk like that. He goes, I'm hoping for the best, but... And Preacher yells, hoorah! And he goes, my man, now hear me out. He goes, now that I'm officially in the clear, I think it's time we throw you a bachelor and a bachelorette, as Bree chimes in, party. And Mel and Jack are like, no. We didn't want... They're like, come on, you don't want to have fun? He goes, after everything I've been through, you've got to give this to us. Bree chimes in. They're like, guys, come on. It's almost like it's not for you guys, it's for us. Like, we've worked hard and we need to have some fun. And Mel and Jack look at each other and they're like, all right, it's fine. All right, do your worst. And Preacher and Bree high five. They're like, it's on. And Charmaine walks up. She goes, hey, I heard the good news. She gives Preacher a hug. I know, right? Everybody's going to hear eventually. She's like, I'm so glad that you're okay. And he's like, thank you. And then she hugs Mel. She's like, hey, I'm glad you're okay too. Thank you. Like, they're hugging now? Because I'm sure that Jack told Mel that he ran into Charmaine at the courthouse and that she applied for some custody, and it's a problem.
As I said, all I can think about is what it first started off as.
I know. We have come so far with so many. So here's the outside of Jack's bar, and there's some like sinister music playing, and we see Calvin just standing there, sort of watching. He's looming outside, and it's over. So he's up to no good, because he's always up to no good.
Of course, because he can't get his own way.
Yep.
He feels that he's entitled to see his boys. The thing is, he probably would have she would have let him see it if he didn't take advantage of the situation.
Oh, yeah,
you can't just be popping it
because
into a woman's house every time.
They probably had a schedule, and he just didn't even listen to it, did whatever the heck he wanted.
As he usually does.
Yep.
And so now she calls the law interview, and the law basically
sided with her because he's got a record.
Exactly.
I mean, that was an easy one. She could have done that before, but she gave him a chance to be a dad, and he screwed it up.
And he screwed it up.
Well, that's what he gets.
Exactly. So now you're like a 5-year-old. You're huffing and puffing because somebody took away your toy. Well, you can't blame that on Charmaine. You gotta be. But the thing is, when you're a narcissist, you basically you don't blame anybody, but you don't blame yourself. You blame other people.
Exactly.
So, oh Lord.
Oh, another day in the life of Virgin River. Always something going on.
Tell me about it.
Oh my. Well, thanks again. That was a good one. There's a lot coming. There's a lot of really good, fun stuff coming. Now that we've made it through the trial, which, like I said before, the first 3 episodes had a lot to do with getting Preacher's situation all figured out.
Yeah.
And now we're going full force into wedding prep. So, yeah, I guess we're getting ready for the fun stuff now.
Yes, we are.
So, awesome. I can't wait. We've only got 7 episodes left. We can do it. We're almost there. It's going to be fun. It's a really, really good season, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. Yes, it is.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Gigi, once again.
Thank you. Au revoir, folks.
And thank you so much, everybody who continues to listen. We appreciate it. And we'll just, we're just going to keep going until there isn't any more episodes. And then when they throw out some more, we'll pick that up where we can.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, have a great day and we'll be back. Bye bye.